The Utah Jazz seem like they're in the mindset of tanking for Cooper Flagg, and it seems like everybody's available except for Taylor Hendricks and Keontae George. Those are two key young players for them. Keontae George had a really good season last year. 13 points per game, shot 39% from three. So that's a player that they could build around the point guard position right now. And they had a pretty good draft. They got the power forward center from Duke. And they also got, that point guard from USC who's really solid. And Cody Williams, Jalen Williams' brother, he looked pretty solid in some of his summer league performances. So they had a really good draft class and some guys that they can allow to develop and give more minutes to if they make moves. And it seems like they're gonna make moves. Five guys that I think they could trade and destinations for those five guys. Jordan Clarkson. This is a bucket getter, a guy off the bench, 17 points per game. He averaged 20 points per game the season before last season with Utah, and he played majority of the season, 70 games, I think. This is a guy that I would want to see on the Philadelphia 76ers. They made some moves. Reggie Jackson just signed him yesterday. Caleb Martin, Kelly Oubre, they have some guys, some good role players, but I think they're missing that microwave guy off the bench, a guy that could get hot, a guy that could give you 20 points on a pivotal game. And we've seen him have some really dominant performances offensively. Shooting three percentage, it's 32%, 33%. Everybody else in the Sixers, though, that's 38, 39%. So they have some efficient three-point shooters, but he's a mid-range guy, layup guy, going to score everywhere offensively. And I think this would be a really good get because they wanted Gary Trent Jr. He chose the Bucks, but getting a guy like Jordan Clarkson off the bench, that would be huge. That would be a bigger move in my mind. And that rotation will look pretty sound. Reggie Jackson, Kyle Lowry, Andre Drummond, Council, Clarkson off the bench, and then you have maybe Caleb Martin or Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre could come off the bench too because Caleb Martin, Embiid, Paul George, Maxey. You would have a lot of endless rotations you could run and be a really deep team. And this is a move that I think could help them really compete with Boston. They would be the second best team in the East, but getting Clarkson off the bench, that would take him over the top and be right neck and neck with Boston, I think. The second guy I think that could get traded, John Collins. This is a guy that could be the Clippers power forward. The Clippers really need a guy that can allow Kawhi Leonard to play his natural position, the small forward position, and John Collins, 15 points per game last year, shot 39% from the three, looked more confident, was more efficient in those corners, and a guy that could still be a lob threat, an athletic power forward, can dunk. After that Anthony Edwards, though, he did get embarrassed on that, but he's still a really solid rim protector, and he could do a lot of good things for the Clippers. And adding him a 15 points per game score could, so you would subtract Paul George's production in that lineup. But another young guy, still like 26, 27, you could fit in well with this, Clippers team. They're trying to add more young players to this team. And Jordan Miller, some of the guys played well in the summer league, but John Collins, this would be a good guy to add. Him and James Harden would be really dangerous in the pick and roll situations. Oh my goodness, just setting screens, lob threat over the top. Yeah, him and James Harden would cook, and Ty Lue, he would be able to help John Collins reach where he wants to go. He wants to be a Hall of Famer at the end of the day. Will he be that? Who knows? He's still pretty young. Still has potential, all the potential in the world as a dunker, can shoot the three, can defend. So the Clippers then would have James Harden at the point guard position, Terrence Mann at the two, Kawhi at the three, Zubac at the five, and John Collins at the four. That's a pretty good starting five, I think. That's a starting five that still allows him to compete. And Derrick Jones Jr. could come off the bench and, plug him in wherever you want to and guard the other team's best player. So I think this would be a win move for the Clippers. You probably give up Bones Highland, PJ Tucker, maybe a young player, Kobe Brown, whatever you got to do to make this happen. But I think this is something the Clippers should do. The next guy I like to get traded from Utah, is Colin Sexton. This is a guy that could average 24 a game. He did it in Cleveland last season. He averaged 18, and when he got put into the starting lineup, you saw him have a dominant run. The Jazz went 15-4 when he was in the starting lineup, and he just went on a tear, having a bunch of 20-point performances. Just the way he plays, very aggressive, can play well defensively, can lock up and be one of the best defending guards in the league. Can shoot the three still. Yeah, I just like how he plays the point guard position, attacks the rim. He just has that mindset. He is a dog. So I think the Lakers is a good spot for him. He would be an upgrade over D'Angelo Russell and a guy that would play really well with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, I think. And in LA, he is somebody that's not going to be too big for him. And I think he is somebody that could average 20 a game in LA. Jalen Hood-Schifino, first round pick, D'Angelo Russell, I think would get that done. And yeah, he would be a huge upgrade over D'Angelo Russell in my mind. And with the Jazz, you bring in D'Angelo Russell, you could trade him and ship him off somewhere, a contending team, and just, yeah, focus on Keontae George, and not have to give those minutes, take those minutes away from him. You can allow Isaiah Collier to get minutes and have him out there, focus on his development behind Keontae George. And this is a guy that could be one of the most valuable assets on your team right now, other than Laurie and probably John Collins. So this is like a guy that I could see getting traded very likely to the Lakers. The next guy I think could be a Lakers guy as well, Walker Kessler. The Lakers really need a big man. When they were most effective, when they won the championship, they had, JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, and they were able to shut down Denver. They were able to have a presence for Jokic in the middle. And I think Anthony Davis at the power forward position is way more effective, way more productive. We've seen him and Bam with Team USA. That's a dominant front court. But you add Walker Kessler, a guy that won't take away anything offensively from Anthony Davis, a guy that could set screens, that moves well with his feet. He could be a lob threat. He would fit in very well next to Anthony Davis. Those two guys defensively, oh my goodness, that would be a force. And like I said, this would be a guy that could be able to put a body in front of Jokic. He's not going to stop Jokic completely, but he's a good rim protector. He's a guy that would, have a similar impact that Rudy Gobert had in terms of putting a body in front of Jokic in that series that helped, Minnesota beat Denver. They had the Twin Towers, and that's how you beat Denver. You have two presence in the paint. They had three, Naz Reid as well. Anthony Davis and Walker Kessler, that would be a nasty-ass front court, and that is a move that the Lakers could make that would help them propel themselves up in the Western Conference, because right now they're scratching to get in the play-in right now with how deep the West is. Colin Sexton and Walker Kessler, these are two guys that the Lakers need to add. Walker Kessler will cost a first-round pick, but you could do, a three-team trade, do whatever you got to do to make this happen. But I think Walker Kessler and Colin Sexton will improve the Lakers hugely, immensely, and help them compete in the Western Conference while LeBron James is still playing at a high level. The last guy and the most likely guy I see the Jazz moving on from is Lauri Markkanen. I think, him being that huge piece that's their best player right now, you need to move on from him. You're going to win too many games with him in the lineup. He's just that good. Last two seasons, shot 40% from three, 48%. Field goal percentage overall, 24 points per game, 7-footer. He could play the 5. He could play small forward. He could do a lot of things. He could rim protect. He can block shots. Floor spacing is crazy with this guy. And I think the Warriors makes the most sense. It just depends on who are they going to give up. Are they going to give up Pods? They need to give up him. He would be the most valuable asset. I think if you get rid of him, maybe you could keep Kuminga. But either or. Trade Kuminga or his ass to get Lauri Markkanen, because he improves the Warriors immensely too. The Lakers and the Warriors, they want to make moves to help their stars, LeBron James and Curry, still have an opportunity to win a championship. Getting a guy like Lauri Markkanen for the Warriors would do that. Imagine a lineup of, Buddy Hield in there, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Lauri Markkanen at the 5, Kuminga at the 3. Who knows what you could do? The options are endless with Lauri Markkanen. The size he plays with and how big he is, you could put him at the 5, you could put him at the 3, you could put him at the 4, and it won't be a mismatch. He's kind of like Kristaps Porzingis. Shoots better though, I think. and he would be a huge mismatch. And with Steve Kerr drawing things up and how that offense with Golden State has looked over the years in terms of shooting, Steph Curry still playing at a high level, the Warriors would be pretty damn good. Kyle Anderson, DeAnthony Melton, Buddy Hield, those were some good additions, and they would look a lot better getting Larry Marketing in that lineup. But the Warriors, you got to make that decision. Do you want to, wait for these young guys to become stars, or do you want to trade these young guys to get a proven star already? It's up to you, because Steph Curry, he's only getting older. Some people thought the NFC North was going to be the worst division in football this season. They thought it was going to be as bad as the NFC South.